my system went through a fundamental change. The fundamental change was, I have lots of problems of my own, and I'm not going to take yours anymore, whoever you are. I'm just not.
Even for a lot of money.
Yes. In fact, I say to people all the time, if you want me to give you answers, if you want answers, you're going to have to pay $30,000 a day. Because there's no way I'm going to do that unless it really takes care of a lot of hospital bills. And I talk that through with people because the people I'm saying that to are themselves over-functioners most of the time. So I'm trying to deliver a message. This isn't about finances.
Yeah,
this is about, are you the kind of person who wants to be very helpful? So that's the first problem, is that your need to be helpful, even when helpfulness isn't very helpful, is a problem. And this defines most leaders that I work with. Most leaders I work with are not under-functioning. They're taking on way, way too much responsibility, leaving others dependent, helpless, and lack of confidence. So it's funny, in one fell swoop, leaders can make themselves more anxious by taking problems and leave the other dependent in the same minute. So how to get leaders thinking about coaching for responsibility, not for problem solving. How does that get into that brain when you've been rewarded your whole life for problem solving? You know, I have problems with this, a lot of challenges with this with accounting firms and law firms where these professionals are paid to give answers all day long.
Content answers, right.
To customers. Then internally they act the same way. They're paid to tell people what to do. This is what's in their head. So what you have is they don't retain people very effectively sometimes, and they get hopelessly strung out. I mean, just overburdened and overwhelmed and burnout. But a lot of it is just a misread on what your responsibilities are as a leader. So we have to get, as people learn this material and they get exposed to these ideas, what happens is they just get a lot more clever and a lot more sharp about discerning what belongs to me and what doesn't. That actually should be one of the first questions that any coach asks when a problem comes in the office. How much of this is mine? And how much of it belongs to the person bringing it? What this is about is surprising the other with how capable they really are. That to me is just exciting, I mean, it just really is.
That's the focus of the coaching, surprising the other with how capable
Yes.
they are. So this thing about seeing the results, what's the hardest part of this type of consulting for you personally?
At this point in my career, in my life, the biggest challenge is meeting the demands of the volume with really highly skilled consultants. I have 3 people on my team. They're fantastic. But there's so much need for this deeper, more genuine, I think, and more challenging brand of consulting, way more than supply can supply. So the frustration is how does the world produce coaches and consultants and leaders who can supply this kind of challenge? I've never forgotten from early in my training, the idea that challenge helps people grow way more than empathy does. Empathy helps people connect, but it's not a very effective modality for growth. And most coaching that happens is sort of hopelessly mired in caring and empathy and reassurance, and it never gets out of that. That's okay, but it needs to get out of that and go to a more challenging place. What are you going to do? What are you going to do about this? What are your ideas about it? And really putting that back on the person, which is a challenging, and the coach has to have confidence knowing that that's a maturity promoting idea. I think the best coaching almost has a jarring effect. Now, this is what I see from where I stand, and it could be partly my style because I know I have a challenging style, but when people leave a meeting and they're kind of disoriented, I can't deliver that through appreciative inquiry. I have to deliver that with something that hits them as something so new that they just haven't thought about it before. And it's like, boom. So what are those moments and what are those ways of doing it? Everyone has their own way. There are many styles and there's not one. But I think the dimension of challenge is a constituent of those best coaching methods, some dimension of challenge. You and I are very different in our styles. I mean, we've worked together, and I have seen you challenge me in your own way, in a way that is very different than the way I might challenge you or somebody else. But the challenging component is what delivers the value to me. You understanding me helps me feel safe with you and helps me know that you're in my best interest. But if that's all it does, then we're just good buddies and we're close and we feel good about each other, but I'm not going to really be able to shift my behavior. So I think challenge is a very important dimension in this. I really do.